you all going?
I said that a really long time ago. That was a very weird delay.
All right. I think we're almost ready here. Huh. Let's see. All right. Well, it says it's live on my view. Let's see. Sorry about this, folks. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're happy to. Oh yeah, here we go.
That was
Yeah,
a
I see
very
it
weird
now.
delay.
All right. Very happy to have everybody here. Thank you all for joining. Came to discuss sort of the modern comics industry today, and just to introduce our guests here. Well, I'm Mike Fitzgerald. I was sort of the former owner leader of Destiny City Comics, and ran that shop for 5 years. I did various festivals and stuff, including a art show with these three artists right here, such as Felicia Chang, also known as Lou Camigo, and Abrian Curington of Lou Catco, and Delia Gable, who has a new graphic novel coming out pretty soon called Dash. It's going to be a fun one. So, yeah. We're just here to talk about sort of the comics industry as a whole, and I'll let you guys sort of take it from here. Maybe we can start with Felicia, if you want to say a few words about what you've been going through lately as an artist and things like that.
Yeah. So, my name is Felicia. Wow, life has been hard lately, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a weird time for me. I haven't really been doing a ton of stuff. It's just been since quarantine started that I've been able to kind of designate time a little bit better to start doing more things. So I've just been kind of, continuing on, just making illustrations here and there, trying to actually work towards like a graphic novel now. Trying to do it a little bit better. A lot of my stuff in the past have been very like self-published, pretty like not a lot of thought went into it. Just kind of did whatever I wanted to do. But now I have like the intention of making something that's a contained story in one novel. So it's hard. First time doing it, but that's kind of my big project right now.
That's cool. Yeah, sounds great. Adrian, what have you been working on lately?
Right now, I was supposed to have been sailing the high seas, making adventure comics, but all of those got canceled or postponed, really. So right now I'm taking some time to put together a graphic novel proposal for agents. I was supposed to do that last year, but it got delayed by sailing. So I'm taking the time to do it now. So my new graphic novel, Stormcalmer, is kind of premiering in like beta on a kind of like side website, and I'm preparing that proposal. And just, as I get commissions working on those, and I have a bit of a day job that I'm attending to as well.
Wow, that sounds, yeah. Geez, well, fortunately you have...
Yep, I think you're muted, Mike.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Fortunately you're one of the people, that still has a day job and all that stuff too, so that's always good. Oh, man. Delia, how about you? Yeah.
I also have a day job, and so I've been working. I got diverted to emergency management and incident. Basically, they're building like the incident command center, which I really felt like we should get badges for. So I worked the whole time and I worked extra hours. So I didn't have as much time as a lot of people on Instagram doing other new things, which is super cool. And also, my yard is trashed because of that. But I have been writing. Obviously, Dash is on Kickstarter now, and that's the collection. So that's super exciting. And I will put some new stuff in there. It's great. It's going to be a closure, and then talking about what happens next. We'll probably get to keep doing some covers for But I really would like to work on my own project. So I've been writing a script and trying to figure that out, how that works, because I'm just used to reading other people's scripts. And I also have a novel and a novella that, not that other people's stuff, that I would really like to convert to comic form. So one is public domain, so on and so forth. So figuring out how that works.
Yeah. That's interesting. Very cool. Yeah. Dash was unfinished in the single issues.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, there's 2 more issues, and I think the last issue is being forfeited now. Yeah.
Single issues are hard. I mean, especially right now, and just these days in general, kind of thing. But yeah.
Well, it's like a 7-inch of comics.
Yeah. Well, especially for like an independent comic that isn't necessarily tied into like a big franchise people are familiar with and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, pretty awesome that you're able to publish it like that. And yeah. But I've seen a few projects, even stuff by like Dark Horse or whatever, that like they didn't even finish their run in single issues. They were just like, let's just go to the graphic novel format. Yeah, for sure. And I think for a few projects I've seen that happen with, it totally made sense, Yeah, so I totally see that working out with this one for sure. And there seems to be a lot of interest in it right now, especially with the Kickstarter going viral and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, it went so fast, and Dave, the writer, kept texting me updates, and I thought it was a typo at first because it was just really nice that the momentum stayed. And
yeah.
We've been through so much.
Yeah.
Put together. We keep joking the mummy's curse. But
yeah. Well, I definitely want to mention that we have a link right down in the description to the Kickstarter, and I believe there's still a few more days left on it. So if you're watching this right now and or in a few days from now, you can still contribute to that and get in all of those early Kickstarter rewards, which are pretty good. Yeah, so awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, we had a few other questions for you tonight. Kind of curious if you guys are trying new technologies and things like that. Especially, like this is our very first live video, our very first YouTube video ever. So, and thank you all for waiting while we were kind of dealing with a few technical difficulties about how to get started and everything. But any other new technologies you guys are trying in particular? I'll start with you, Felicia.
Yeah, so I've definitely been doing a lot more digital art lately. Past couple months has just been mostly that. Typically, I usually just use my iPad and Procreate, but I recently got Clip Studio Paint, and I've been trying to experiment with that a little bit more to kind of pump up my graphic novel drawing skills. Still pretty new, still kind of vague for me, but I've just been kind of working on slowly upgrading the technology that I use. Very interesting getting kind of like one of those big monitor tablets at some point. But yeah, just learning new software programs is a lot already. So I've just been kind of taking it easy one step at a time like that.
Yeah. Are you liking Procreate? I feel like I've been hearing a lot about that lately.
Yeah, it's what I've been using for the past, I want to say, maybe 4 or 5 years since I started making like those self-published comics they used to sell at your store. That's pretty much what I used from the get-go. So it's about time I tried to learn something new. But yeah, no, it's great. It's easy to use. It's very beginner friendly. And honestly, like with the iPad, it's like you don't necessarily need one, but for me, I always had like such a hard time with like the hand-eye coordination of just like the like non-screen tablets. That combination of like the iPad plus Procreate was just a really easy way for me to get into drawing digitally.
Yeah, that's cool. And I have to mention that I'm wearing your T-shirt today and stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no. So yeah, definitely have some cool stuff out there and everything. So you make more shirts and all that stuff too. So yeah. Abrian, how about you? Anything new you've been trying out and everything? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite, well, not the opposite side of the digital spectrum. So I did start using what now it would probably be considered Wacom Intuos, but back when I got it, it was a bamboo. And I also couldn't do the hand-eye coordination of like my tablet's over here, my screen's over here, so I was just terrible. And then I got a Cintiq, which was drawing directly on the screen, which is much better. But recently, I have been using iPad with ProGate, so I could have something a little more portable. I like it okay. I tend to need something kind of precise, so Procreate is awesome for like sketching and like more painterly things, but like some weird stuff bothers me, like the text. Like if I want to put text up here that's 10 point and I want it over here 2 and 10, like there's no like type in here, so I just have to like roll my finger to try to like make it be the same number, and that's frustrating. But overall, I do like it. It makes my work faster, and I like being able to sit on the couch and work on stuff without having to pay like $2,000 or $3,000 for a Wacom companion, because that's ridiculous. So I'd say that's the biggest technological thing that I've been working with lately is Procreate.
Yeah.
You're muted again.
Yes. Right on. Procreate seems pretty interesting too. Pretty powerful.
It's the hot new thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Affordable compared to a lot of other software programs. So.
Yeah. How about you, Julia?
Oh, I haven't been using any new technology.
You didn't get a new pen, Grandma? Are you sure?
I have the same. I use things until they break, or until they are not supported anymore, and then they eventually,
Well, you're very into traditional tools and stuff like that too. But I mean, any traditional tools? You started getting into I don't know.
I did, yes, actually.
Gouache.
I did buy a set of so basically like gouache ink. I have not used them yet, but I intend to.
What are they called?
All right, let's see. Let's see if I can find it.
It's not the gouache. It's acrylic gouache, which is awesome.
It might be that it's liquid, and it comes in a... And I was just like, I have not seen this. I've seen watercolor ink, I've seen water fast ink, and it looks pretty cool. So I watched some videos, and people are doing some really effective stuff with it. And then I just haven't had the time to experiment with it. You need a lot of time to just make hideous things and be like, well, that was a learning experience.
Yeah, that's cool. I guess I'm kind of curious too about this. This is one of the questions you guys came up with too. Have you guys had any experience trying to break into the overall industry? I'm one of those people that feel like, self-publishing, you are in the industry. But, have you had any experiences trying to break into, I guess, larger companies and things like that? Yeah.
Like the Big Four sort of thing?
I've had
I guess, period, now. Right now it's got to be a whole different ballgame for sure, but yeah.
I'm not gonna say I miss going to conventions. I kind of I always sold well, but the stress of putting everything up, and then conventions. If young artists or brand new artists out there who haven't done a convention yet, incredibly boring for the most part. You're sitting behind your table, smiling all day.
Yep.
You gotta draw. Just draw.
Yeah, so I usually take my watercolors, and then children stop by and they're like, "Ooh, look, she can make art." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, let's go." But as far as breaking in, to major publishing or that sort of thing, or applying to bigger shows, Most of my experience in breaking into publishing is mostly me meaning to and then just publishing myself because it takes too long. So, I'm like always like, okay, as I'm writing this thing, I will definitely use it to query an agent, and then it's done, and then I just ship it. So this time I'm gonna not do that. I'm gonna query an agent. And as far as shows, the only large show I've ever applied to was Emerald City, and no one can get into that. So
it's like a lottery or something, and
it's
yeah.
like magic and like dark incantations and sacrifices and stuff. Yeah, so that's my experience. I just haven't tried hard enough, really. I haven't tried at all.
That's cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like your stuff might fit in pretty well. Well, I would say just in like one of the bigger companies, like I want to say something like like Norton or like
Yeah,
his publisher.
I was given the advice
or Boom
to maybe, and I was given the advice. So like, if I was gonna try to do big publishing, it's probably gonna be more for my nonfiction stuff, because my fiction stuff is in this weird no man's land. But yeah, Boom, Image, that sort of, or Arcadia, or whatever their imprint is, it's probably what I'm going to end up going for.
Probably want to get the name before you.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I applied. I did apply to that one once, but like half-heartedly. I don't know. I've been out of the game for too long.
I think it changes all the time too. Yeah.
I'm not even sure that one still exists, actually.
Yeah, I've never tried. I was not, mostly because I wasn't interested in doing other people's, like I wasn't actually doing licensed characters. So I was like, there are other ways to make money that won't suck the joy out of drawing for me.
What about shows that you apply for, you thought you might get into? Any of those?
I didn't apply to any shows.
No?
Any shows?
Like like a convince.
No, because remember I told you I wasn't going to table until I had like books, like new books to sell?
True, yeah.
How could you forget that?
Like having an inventory is half the battle, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to just show up and be like, oh no, here's some stickers. Yeah, yay.
I've seen people like that, for sure, yeah.
I mean, good for them, but then you have to sit there and draw for 8 hours and you paid a lot for it. And...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of where both of you guys are at. One being I never really tried to go for like bigger conventions where you can kind of, break into that sort of thing. Drawing has also been something for me that was always very part-time. Like I've always had like a full-time job and I've just kind of done it on the side. So I feel like I never really allocated time to that, to like really beef up the inventory and like get everything set, like prepare for it, because sometimes I hear about these conventions and shows like 3 months before they start and I'm like, well, I guess that's something for next year then. But yeah, no, I would be interested to do a little bit more with my art. I'm not sure if like directly related to like publishing, but like I've done some things where my art's on apparel and that kind of stuff. Obviously I'm interested in like making graphic novels and getting things published, but I've never really like actively pursued it super hard, or like you guys said, tried, because the convention thing is a big hurdle.
Yeah, I mean, well, and I feel, also what I was saying to you earlier about people just having stickers or whatever, some people kind of consider it kind of a sunk cost, having a table, and that's just promotion. I was always kind of devious to that kind of thinking, but, it is one thing to think about for sure. Yeah, that's like, you kind of spend money on an ad or something,
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's interesting.
The other thing about Emerald City, once I calculated, like after I was done with one show, Like, I literally don't have enough, like, if I crunch the numbers, I don't have enough merchandise to, like, make it worth even going. Like, literally on my body, if I sold everything, I still
Right.
probably wouldn't be worth going.
Yeah, that's rough. No, sometimes I think about it too. And I probably shouldn't think about it like this, but oftentimes I'm like, so it's like a 2-day thing that's like 6 hours each day. I'm like, do I have, as an introvert, I'm like, do I have the mental capacity to be around that many people for 2 days?
Yeah.
Often the answer is no.
Yeah.
Well, Emerald's like 4.5 now, isn't it? Or like 4, yeah. No, it's 4 whole days.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does help to be behind the table because it's just like a help. It's a barrier for sure. So it's totally different from attending where you're in the sea of people and the energies.
Yeah.
Like you can pull way back from behind the table.
You can also like build one of those like towers around you, just covered with garbage, like we do, and just like into the
It's hard to find behind those towers.
Yeah. Like eating a hot dog.
Well,
I respect you. I don't see you at all. Yeah.
Well, I've seen a lot of empty tables on like either like Thursday, Friday, Sunday, stuff like that. People can't make all 4 days often. I mean, there's probably some kind of sunk costs with that, but geez. Yeah. Well, I thought I'd ask you maybe something a little bit about how you feel like your sexuality or your gender kind of affects your work or how you're perceived as an artist. I guess whoever wants to start, Felicia or whoever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I never really put a lot of like conscious thought into it with my artwork. But at the same time, I don't think I would say, I don't know, it's like a topic that I don't really think about on my own that much, but as you format it as a question, you talk about in discussion with other people, I think that I could probably incorporate that more. But at the same time, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't because it's like I'm a straight person, so I'm just like there's already a lot of stuff on that out in the world already. So it's like I would love to like incorporate more topics, like good topics and good discussions about sexuality, included in your artwork. At the same time, I'm at that middle ground where I'm just like, I just don't know, man. I'm like, maybe people want to hear about it, maybe people don't, if it's already something that's already so talked about, especially from my perspective.
Yeah. Well, that's so interesting. I feel the same way in a lot of ways too. Well, in just ways that like people have asked me, like, as a gay man, do you feel comfortable being like a comic fan or like being, at a comic shop? I'm like, I don't really notice anything. I mean, I guess it feels kind of like I should, but I don't really. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a lot of that going on. Although, like, I will say I've had people in the shop that were intolerant. They might not have known that I was a gay man here or whatever. And that's kind of weird. But that's about all I've kind of run into, really. Yeah, nothing really too bad or anything. But yeah. How about you, Abrian? Yeah.
I don't like. I think that because I'm a straight woman, I don't really. I think it's less about my sexuality and more about how like I view relate. For me, like friendship is very important. Like whether you're in a romantic relationship or not, like friendship really takes precedence over like other things. Or your family. So I think that shows up a lot in my work. Like a lot of my graphic novels, like there are no relationships, or like with the, like, someone might be married, someone might be dating, but like that has nothing to do with the story. Like, and you would never know the sexuality of my characters because it doesn't have anything to do with the story. So like, I have no reason to write about it because that's not what the story is about. So that probably influences the kind of work that I make. And so like a lot of my like figures aren't overly sexualized or anything like that because that's just not a topic that is in the forefront of my life or my work. So that's probably mostly. And as far as like how I'm perceived, my sexuality hasn't had much to do with it. More that like how I dress. Like I just like your average, maybe like
I was going to check you there.
I can get crazy. I mean, it's like 2 hours away from my bedtime right now. It's fast limits.
It's sort of funny, and I wonder if some people probably perceive this as insensitive or whatever, but you know, I mean, people ask me if I'm like, you know, like masc or femme, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm just nerdy, you know, like, you know. So I don't know, yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, how about you, Delia? Yeah.
Well, I'm bisexual and obviously a female, and I came out in the 90s, so I think it always informed my work where there is probably a lot of sexuality in my work, but also a lot of tension. And sort of, because for a long time, you know, I felt that threat of, well, you know, I'm interacting with this stranger and things are going well, and then they're going to figure it out and, you know, react violently or with aversion or with repulsion. And so because I went through a period of time in my teens when I was figuring myself out, where I was doing a lot of secret drawing too. So I think
Did you say secret drawing?
Yeah.
That's sorry, I just couldn't hear.
Secret drawing.
Right. That sketchbook.
No, I didn't have a sketchbook. I was using bond paper, and then I was like, and also, you know, my school notebooks, and then I would hide those, and some of those pictures I burned just because I was like, there can be no trace. So it was kind of intense. So I think that still comes out even now. Like, you know, I don't know that we're in slightly safer times, yet still on an interpersonal level. But you know, it's still the same carryover, but it's the same hesitation. And I think just being able to see all genders and appreciate beauty, both platonically and beyond platonically, is an important facet of my work as well.
It's not a different question, but based on two things we've said so far, like, so the art that an artist produces is, you know, for like growth purposes, as to say a lot of it is kind of garbage. And sometimes, you know, we don't want to like leave traces of past embarrassments. So I kind of got in trouble talking to a museum, what was her title? She was the registrar, museum registrar. Do you keep all of your artwork nowadays anyway? Like, do you keep all your sketches and everything, or is it okay to throw stuff away?
I definitely still throw things away.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll save it. If it was on good paper, I'll save it just for something else where I'm like, well, I could cover that with gesso and, you know, save a little money. So, but I'm like, ugh. Sometimes I just put a pencil line through it, just, you know.
Like, X it out.
Just to represent my disgust.
I would just say like dabbling art, but I mean, yeah, you definitely can't keep anything if you're like any kind of prolific, you know. Yeah.
She was. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like at this point too, just because all of you too have probably been drawing for so long, it becomes like a storage issue. Like if everything is so precious to keep, I just like have a giant stack in my room and I'm like, this cannot go with me everywhere.
That's exactly what I told the registrar. She would like rescue her daughter's like sketches of hands from the trash. Like, you're gonna run out of space for all that stuff. Just you wait.
What I love is now you can scan stuff. Like, I have definitely like gone through old sketchbooks. You know, when you're like, I still have 20 pages left in this. I cannot just get rid of the whole thing. And you're going through and you're like, fire. Oh, that one's all right. That one could be
Yep.
all right. I'll go. It goes in a file. Fire.
Fire.
I think I'd turn it over to you guys for next question. Yeah, is there anything in particular you wanted to say or discuss? Yeah.
I would love for Abrian to tell us about her haircut.
Oh, my haircuts. What? So I was very much not wild until about, 2 weeks ago? And I chopped off all my hair because I needed something that would wash and wear for the ocean. And then I wasn't going on the ocean. So, no, I just have this that I don't know what to do with. But now I guess I look, more like an artist. So that's a bonus.
Starting to look the part a little bit now.
Right.
But it looks badass. You have a good head.
Like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Have a good head.
Yeah.
That's important. If you're gonna shave, you have to have a good head for it.
Anything you guys want to like plug or that you haven't mentioned or anything? Yeah.
I don't think so. Let's see. Oh, actually, me and Delia were talking about something earlier in the week, which was having time for networking and like meeting the right people, except also making work. Like I always hear these like hokey tips. Well, no, they're not hokey. They're true tips for networking. They're like find someone that you like, and just start doing stuff for them. Like build a relationship, make friends. I can't say that's ever worked for me. I feel like all the networking I've done has been totally on accident. Do any of you guys have like networking success?
I think it's you can when you go to a large art event and you see the people who are like, I'm networking now. And they're
Hold on.
hello, so schmoozy and like uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my best relationships have just come out of just organic, like, hey, we click. Oh, we like some of the same things. And then I worry because I'm like, oh, we're getting along so well. They're gonna think I'm schmoozing them. That's not what's happening here. And then you're like, I can't say it. Then that's definitely gonna sound weird. But yeah, like just the sheer amount of time that it takes to make art. Like art is essentially like an isolated practice. And especially now that like with I've been doing all this band stuff where it's none of that is an isolated practice at all, and it's such a contrast.
Would you like to plug your rock band?
Well, we don't have any shows because it's
Right.
Any live stream plays,
We did do one in June. One of the bands did one in June, and the other band is on hiatus because our drummer has elderly parents, so that she sees regularly. We were like, yeah, don't worry, like, absolutely. And it's like the whole world is on pause with shows and everything anyway. Yeah, like, you spend all this time making stuff, and sometimes, if we're talking, you put all this time into something, and then you ruin it right at the end, and you're like, well, this is trash. Like, it's
Just
done.
one more stroke. Just one more stroke.
Right? Yeah. I overwork things all the time, and I'm like, now it's burnt. Like, you just messed it up. But, yeah, I don't know how people find the time for that, and also, even just, like, any kind of social life. Like, when I was cultivating a healthier social life, I was like, this is great, but I have no time to make art unless I, like, take a sketchbook and bring it somewhere. Yeah, I don't know how some people do it.
What's the name of your band, Celia? Sorry.
The Whole Bolivian Army, which is hard indie rock, and Mallory, which is the queer girl power punk.
Cool. Sorry, go ahead, Felicia.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, if anybody knows a secret, please tell me, because I don't know how to balance my life either.
I think they don't sleep, maybe? I don't know.
That'd be it. That's the only thing I can think of that you could get rid of at that point if you're you're working, you're doing the drawing, working, and then you're meeting people and socializing, and then eating.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that's left to give.
Eating.
Laundry, all these stupid things.
Yeah.
What I find amazing is like art students tend to have some, I mean, I didn't as an art student, but they tend to have some magical power. Like on Twitter, you'll see this like person who's doing like 1 minute animations like daily and like, oh, I just saw this cool episode of Steven Universe and I just made an animation about it. It's like that happened tonight. Like I don't understand. And then like you look at their profile and they're like, students, what? Are you not doing your homework? Like what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't. Well,
No,
he wasn't a student, but like, my one friend Chad would always do fan art of RuPaul's Drag Race queens, and he would post that stuff like right after the episode, and it would be like, you must have been like watching the episode and like, on Procreate,
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think that could work actually. You're sitting and watching and
Yeah.
drawing at the same time. But I just think
Felicia,
some of that, you got to have your tablet or sketchbook.
Felicia,
It's good practice.
am I crazy or did you work at a design school? Is that where you?
I did briefly the
Yeah.
Northwest College of Art and Design. I worked there for like a year. No longer there now. But yeah, no, all the students there, they're like always making things, and I'm just like, how do you have time? Because you have like 6 hours of home. Because they all have like accelerated classes, so they all have like 6 hours of homework every day, and they're still like posting on like Instagram and Twitter, and I'm just like, I like was a student too, and I don't remember having that much time.
No.
Or maybe it's just like where they choose to put their time. Like I think because I didn't go to school specifically as an art student, so like maybe the mindset of like how you go about your day and like what you're trying to get done is a little bit different, than like purely academics, like writing papers and like that kind of thing.
Yeah, or maybe they're turning it into their art classes and stuff too. It's probably,
Yeah, so maybe homework slash, mixing it in with like just whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
When I was in undergrad, I was 100% like sleep is for the weak. Like I could just roll through. I could do that and also work and go to class or a party and skip class. Sadly, hypothetically. But yeah, I just remember being able to do all of those things. And I was paying some bills, but somehow like I think part of it is now I have an increased pressure for sleep where I can't just skimp out anymore. And I realized all my time management techniques were solely based on like trimming off like the end of sleep or the beginning of it.
You are a sleep doctor now, so that makes sense.
Well, we can't all be ocean doctors like you.
No, as a student, I was for some reason like hyper domestic. Like we had I was in kind of like it was kind of like an apartment, but it was a dorm. So I would just like cook all the time. I have to cook all my food because food allergies. And like I'd play video games, and like I try to think back and say like, oh, I wish I would have made this cool project or whatever, but it would have been garbage. Like it would have been trash. Like the stuff I was producing then was not that good. So I can't feel that bad.
Nice. Well, yeah. Everyone's pretty good, and no one has anything to add. I think we should wrap it up here. And yeah, thanks so much for joining us. And it's been really cool. Wish you luck in all your future projects and in this scary new world we live in. Yeah,
Nice to see you guys all again too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, likewise. Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Yeah, well, I'll just stream now, and thanks again, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks.
All right, it's over.